Hi friends! So I just got done reading this book, Confident Leader, and it is by Dan Reiland, don't know how you say that. But first of all, I just want to tell you guys that I'm really excited and honored that you are even watching this video and that I get to lead you all in this part. So this book is broken up into 3 sections: deep foundational decisions, deliberate character development, and daily practical disciplines. A lot of this I feel like I have been a part of before because of my relationship and growth of camp leadership. A lot of these things are named that I feel like I had never heard named before, but I am so thankful for Make Promises Happen and how they teach this a lot by example, which is kind of what we're going to dive into a little bit. So the first part really spoke to me because I struggle with this a lot, and I feel like if you are in leadership, you have struggled with this too. Leaders often struggle with questions such as, am I good enough? Do I have the charisma to inspire others to follow me? Will they listen to me? What if I fail? Or perhaps they worry they're not qualified to truly affect change, which can lead to the question, does what I do matter? And the chapter goes on to answer those questions. Believing in yourself reflects knowing that God is with you and you are dependent on Him. It is an unshakable belief that you are in this together, and knowing this truth will lift your belief that you can lead. The decision of belief is rooted to your salvation by faith in Christ, but it goes further. It connects with your call and development as a leader. So I thought that was really cool. He talked about being called to be a leader, and if you're in a leadership position, there's a reason for it. And also talking about humility. He goes on to talk about humility in that. So yes, you can be called to a leadership position, but and this is what I feel like I had a lot of. I feel like I had a lot of, and still do, humility. And this spoke to that too. So cultivating genuine humility in your life is a complex idea. For example, how much humility is enough? How does it fit in with confidence? Where do you start? Humility isn't thinking poorly of yourself, which is kind of what I thought it was. It's thinking honestly about yourself. It's the combination of knowing the truth about yourself and simultaneously understanding God's great love for you. So, for example, the opposite counterpart of humility is pride. It talks about prideful leaders are arrogant, believe they're always right, can't say they're sorry, demand their own way, and often use people. On the contrary, humble leaders are kind, teachable, easy to be with, not demanding, lift up others, have nothing to prove, and understand that their gifts and abilities come from God. So that spoke a lot to me in the fact that you can be a confident leader, rooted in that confidence, and also have the ability to be humble by being teachable and easy and all of those things. So I thought that was really cool, and it honestly gave me a big boost of confidence to go into different leadership in a humble and confident way. It's kind of a fun little balance. The next part, which I could have highlighted the entire book in this section, is all about consistency and good habits. I talk to my husband about this a lot, and if we are called to be in a bigger position, a higher position, a bigger position of leadership, we have to also maintain and take care of ourselves. For example, it says persistent bad habits decrease your effectiveness because they erode your leadership confidence. So you probably know your bad habits, and I know that I know mine. So if you think about your bad habits, and if you are doing things that have you lean into them, those are something that you need to address so you can function at your highest quality and potential with the responsibilities that come with leadership. The next it talked about is adaptability. Embrace uncertainty. Some of the most beautiful chapters in our lives won't have a title until much later. And Bob Goff said that, which if you have never read a book by Bob Goff, I highly suggest it. So with that, bad habits and situations like that, and leaning into developing yourself as a person, if you find that your ministry, your leadership position is stuck, the first place to look is at yourself and ask the question, what needs to change? It's similar to what we all know is true in parenting. For example, when I asked my kids to put their smartphones away for dinner, they didn't want to see dad sneaking a look at his phone either. I had to change first to see if I wanted to lead them to this new behavior. This example describes a specific behavior, but it also represents a value that this family is important. So if you're a leader and you're wanting your people to clean the toilets, then you have to be willing to hop in there and clean the toilets as well, and being dedicated to all of those tasks and leading by example. Another thing that I thought was really cool, that really spoke to me, was about in developing yourself as a person to grow as a leader, is talking about how to handle pressure in a healthy way. So he said that one summer his anxiety came out of nowhere. He became overwhelmed sitting at his desk. Spontaneous heart palpitations made my heart race. And he said it continued for a couple of weeks and his confidence was depleting. I had to be reminded that I needed to let God carry what I could not carry. And then I'm reading things from here and going back over here. But it says it talks a lot about each thing in detail. But it talks about how adding margin to your busyness and to your task list, margin is your time to think, rest, play, dream, plan, and create. Because that balance of working really hard, managing all of your tasks, checking in on your people, which we'll talk about in just a second, that also needs to come with thinking, resting, playing, dreaming, planning, and creating. If you're one of those people like me who's Enneagram 3 and just wants to put their head down and work all the time, there also has to be a balance. But if you don't have that drive to put your hard work in and put your head down and work, you might need this example. So John Maxwell actually spoke at Young Living Convention, and he gave this analogy, which I loved and I still love. So he has a rule of 5, the 5 things he does every day. So John Maxwell reads, thinks, files, asks questions, and writes every day. You'll need to find your own 5, but here is a metaphor for that. So the first thing you're going to want is to know what you want to accomplish. Okay? So the thing is that the analogy and metaphor is chopping down a tree. So know what you want to accomplish. You want to chop down the tree. The next thing is you're going to want to get the right tool. You're going to use an axe because a baseball bat won't work. The third thing is to stay focused. Keep cutting the same tree. If you woke up every day and cut a little bit of every tree, your tree's not going to get cut down. Just keep cutting the same tree. 4, remain consistent. Do it every day. And you only have to swing 5 times if you do it every day. Does that make sense? So I think about that when I think about working out and eating right, or really anything. If I just do a little bit at it every single day, eventually that tree's going to fall down. And 5 is stay with it until the task is accomplished. No need to ask how long it takes. You're done when the tree falls. Know what you want to accomplish, get the right tool, stay focused, remain consistent, and stay with it until the task is accomplished. So I love that, because there are a lot of big, crazy things in life, especially if you're a leader, that you want to accomplish and that you want to do, but they're not going to happen overnight. Getting up every single day, And whacking that tree with the axe 5 simple times is going to get you there. It's going to cut the tree down. So thinking about stuff that way kind of makes me feel, I don't know, just, again, very confident. The last part, the big hunk of this book, is about, there's a quote that talks about, and my friend Robert Franklin uses it a lot, and he also used it in this book. If you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. So this is a lot about developing other leaders under you. We are all responsible to develop leaders. The best leaders create leaders. There is nothing that supercharges your personal growth as a leader quite like developing other leaders. And that, to me, looks like reaching out to people and figuring out what makes people tick, learning how to encourage people, giving people tools in their toolbox, giving them a high five when they chop down the tree, giving them a high five when they go out and do 2 chops at the tree. Does that make sense? Like, bringing other leaders up and along with you, and it says it here, is like one of the greatest tasks you can do as a leader. So those are the things that really spoke to me in this book. And I feel like I could go on and go forth, and I could read this book. Oh, my nails are dirty. Maybe once or twice a year. For sure, maybe once a year. But if you haven't, it's also an audio. It's really good. And yeah, hopefully you guys got something from that. Have a great day.